You heard about the young Russian skater who was disqualified from originally she was
not going to
disqualified.
even attempt to say her name.
I'm about to because I had to look at it again. Kamila Vilaeva.
That's close enough. That's close enough.
Okay, cool. Oh, boy, that shit was rough. She was, boy. Look,
just try it with it. Try it with the Russian accent. It might help. Kamila Vilaeva.
It sounds like you want to say Villa Nigga. It sounds like you want to say Villa Nigga.
I almost did.
It really sounds like you want to say Villa Nigga. Like
Kamila Villa. Das
Villa Viela. So, okay, she was originally disqualified for performance-enhancing drugs. But
no, she wasn't disqualified. She was under investigation.
Oh, they made a different article said
they were literally looking into whether or not they were going to disqualify her, but they had to run a full investigation.
Right, she had a positive drug test, and so then it was reversed because it's Russia that she was allowed to compete. But they stated if she was to medal, there would not be a ceremony. Well, Sha'Carri Richardson's case came up. And if you remember Sha'Carri, she's a young black woman who was killing the games, and all of a sudden she couldn't make the Olympics because of a positive test for marijuana. And everybody said, of course, she had found out while running a race, found out her mom had passed and all this and the third. And so the conversation had come up as to why was one allowed to compete in the Olympics and the other wasn't. And the IOC is focused on this and said a lot of things. And you broke it down to me a certain way, and I want you to break it down.
Okay, so because I was having a long I did a bunch of research on it, and I was also having a long conversation with Kristen and a few other people. So here is really what was going on. First of all, she's a minor. She's 15. Sha'Carri is 20. When this happened, she would have been 19. So she's a legal adult, right? So that's part of it. That actually goes a lot into those things because of, especially depending on what the drug is, about legal responsibility and things like that. So that's the first part of it.
Okay.
Sha'Carri's trying to play the race card on this. In my opinion, she has a case if you want to look at specifically weed, because Megan Rapinoe was allowed to promote Rapinoe, sorry. Megan Rapinoe was allowed to promote her CBD / weed business.
Yes.
And a few other white athletes were allowed to do that. If that's what you're talking about, then by all means, I think that we can have a discussion about race and how certain people are treated with double standards and things like that. But as in regards to what went on with Kamila, it doesn't apply here for a couple of reasons. First of all, if you know anything about her trainer is apparently this heinous bitch of a trainer that apparently she I don't even know if you could think of a good example of like a drill sergeant or whoever, they say that she breaks the spirits and the bodies of the people that she trains. She is like the Iron Lady type ass drill sergeant, right? But she has also apparently she's never been caught in any sort of scandal with doping. But remember, Russia has been caught in a shit ton of stuff with doping. So the honest discussion should have been about why is it that Russia, who multiple times have been busted for doping, is allowed as a country to compete anymore? The short answer of it, which a lot of analysts have been talking about, is because, again, we're on the verge right now of World War III with everything happening with Russia and the Ukraine. They're trying to appease Russia because if they just kick them out of the fucking Olympics, it could genuinely start off a shitstorm. But remember, that's why U.S. diplomats were boycotting not because of the doping thing, but because of Russia and what Russia's doing. U.S. diplomats were boycotting the Olympics, and so were a number of other NATO countries, if I have that correctly. So it's one of those situations that we need to have very different conversations about it. If we want to talk about weed and how Sha'Carri was treated, then you compare it to those other situations, and that is, I think, completely fair. If you're talking specifically about the races and shit, and or if you're talking specifically about doping and what went on there and whatnot, then you're dealing with some other bullshit that Russia as a whole needs to be addressed.
They
were boycotting because of China. Excuse me. I thought they were boycotting because of Russia. So
yes, yeah.
This girl is not a Russian. I see what you're saying, that the person is a Russian trainer. I get it. Okay. So yeah, they were boycotting because of China, but either way, take it from there, Jay. Go ahead.
Okay. So from what I'm understanding, Sha'Carri's punishment came from USADA. And yes, and not the IOC. Yeah,
it came from the US and not the IOC. That's the other thing.
So overall, if I'm not mistaken, that's the biggest difference. But at the same time, there's this question about marijuana. There's just this thing about marijuana in general, right? At this point, I think we should have hit this level of. Now, of course, it's up to the U.S. Doping Agency, USADA, all these other places to deal with that, as well as the IOC. But marijuana has been proven it's not a full performance enhancing. I mean, there's so many things that are considered Adderall. Remember, Richard Sherman was suspended from games in the NFL for being on Adderall to focus, literally, right? But doping, you said something, you and I were talking yesterday, I believe it was, about this. And one of the things you stated was the girl shouldn't be punished for what her handlers do.
Right.
But here's the issue with that. The athletes always have to fall suit net, no matter what.
But the difference is, again, she is a minor. If you're talking about a situation where an adult with her trainers and her trainers fuck her, then I still think that that's a situation where she needs to be held accountable. She's 15 years old, bro. She's literally putting her life in the hands of adults to get her to where she needs to go. Sha'Carri at that point was 19 when all this went down.
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's I still think it's bullshit that she wasn't allowed to compete.
Yeah, I just think it's something the thing of we always hear of the training staff and everyone involved with the athlete, regardless of the athlete's age, because when it comes to U.S. gymnastics, a lot of the girls, when they start out, are young. You know what I'm saying? They're young when they start. And so anything that happens, whether it is the athlete themselves or the training staff,
right,
it all affects in one thing. So I understand what everyone is stating about she's a minor. But again, look at it again when we look at gymnastics and everything as a whole. We look at the training staff.
But
and if the
it's the same thing. I'm there with you with that training staff. I'm sorry to interrupt, but what's her name? What's her name? The most famous thing that everybody thought it was so brave. She did the vault on a broken leg. What the fuck is her name?
Dominique Dawes?
Is it Dominique? The white girl that she broke her ankle.
And
then she still finished the thing. Carrie Strug.
Yeah. Why am I, that remember Kid Peele was like, you called that vortex? What am I talking?
But that's another example, honestly, of toxicity involved in the people putting that pressure on essentially children. I understand the younger, like that age is the age where you're the most flexible, the most athletic, etc. But think about that. That is both her trainers and America being like, bitch, if you don't hit this motherfucking vault, and then afterwards be like, what a hero. But I see like looking at a 15-year-old, 16-year-old girl with a broken fucking ankle forced to do something.
No, I agree.
Ridiculous.
But it's so here's the catch-22, if you will, with that. Yeah. Just as much as we look at the training staff, the country, the adults, and all this, you have the athletes, regardless of the age, who still want to push themselves just as much.
Sure.
That's the weird catch-22 behind all of this with every sport, no matter what.
While I understand that 1,000%, you know what I'm saying? There is a point at which, again, as the adult in the situation, you go, because Carrie Strug has come out since when the whole Simone Biles stuff went down.
Yeah,
she
absolutely.
Came out and said how horrible that was and the pressure that was put on her and the people that were like, she did it as much. Maybe about 50-50 about
Best
her pride and when to get there.
It's definitely a dumbass rule. Shouts out Flats Only, please. It's definitely a dumbass rule, but it was in place when Sha'Carri got caught. That's the blackest response there. It's definitely a dumbass rule.
It's a dumb rule, but again, you have to remember, because we talked about this with weed as well, and this was the U.S.'s decision, not the IOC, but had the IOC been making decisions, you got to remember what we have decided about weed, or deciding, because you've got about you're getting
it's not legal across the
It's not legal across the country yet. It's not legal across the globe. You get caught with weed in certain Asian countries, they will put your ass in prison for life, or they'll kill
the fuck out you in the streets,
they will kill you. So you have to remember that we don't have the same laws across the thing. So that's its own thing. So that's a conversation with the U.S. about not letting her do that. Jay, don't buy me love, get yourself. That was the thing I started for you. Yes, he just wants you to be happy to yourself. But all that being said, man, it's just one of those, that it's one of those things. So there you go. That's the other part. If Carrie had bowed out, the U.S. team was high enough in points, they still would have won gold. So she didn't need to do it. And yet you made this child do it. And mind you, it's one of those moments where everybody's like, that's perseverance. That's amazing. But again, how effed up is that? Oh, no. You had said it had gone too far. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know that there was more. So we'll get to that in a minute. So that's all, y'all. I just see what you put in the run sheet.
Yeah, man.
I didn't know about that. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it, man. Unless there's something else you want to say about this whole situation.
That's all. It's just, I mean, again, it's to have the discussion, as we always do here on the show. It's to understand the points, because again, face value. It's, wait, she can't run because of weed, but doping she can go at face value. But when you understand, look, this is the U.S., this is USADA, the U.S. Doping Agency, and blah, 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 versus the IOC. And then the IOC, on top of that anyway, has been known to be hella corrupt as of recently.
But again, I think that's the problem. Nobody will, like, literally all we do is look at headlines. Like, essentially you look at life as if they're just tweets. You refuse to read anything else associated with it. You just read the top 120 characters and call it a fucking day. And that doesn't work. Or I guess it's 240. It's been 240 for a while. But you know what I'm saying? Like, to go and look at what Sha'Carri's actual situation was, because she tried to put out an infographic and make it seem like they were cut and dry. White girl from Russia, black girl from where's she from? And here in America, it doesn't matter. Black girl from America, white girl from Russia, and they let her drugged ass go, and they don't let my drugged ass go. Like,
to Black America. I'm so sorry for what just happened.
I don't know where Sha'Carri's from, bro.
I'm just saying it was the way you just did. For Black America, like, we try sometimes.
Fine, so. I'll look it up, nigga. I was in the middle of a rant. I just didn't. She was like, nigga, I didn't want to just be like, yeah, Sha'Carri Richardson, she's from Compton, when she's not even remotely close for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to be respectful.
One of my buddies put up on Facebook, he was like, yo, I want to actually, he's a black dude. He was like, I want to go visit African America. I was like, so Atlanta. Nigga.
Compton or Atlanta? I don't
Which way you want to go to, nigga?
Or Brooklyn. Where Brooklyn at, nigga? Or H-Town. Most of Houston too, nigga. I rep Dallas.
She's from Dallas.
Okay, so there you go. She's from my hometown.
First of all, nigga, this nigga know everything else about Dallas. This is Dallas shit.
Hold up. Here's Africa, America, bro. Compton, Inglewood. I'm gonna type it all out. Inglewood.
I thought this nigga Googled that. I thought this nigga Googled what is African American.
You got Brooklyn. Atlanta. You got what? NOLA. And H-Town. That's pretty much it. Now, there are niggas everywhere, but those are our main residencies. Long Beach, you got Long Beach. You can throw Long Beach in there if you want.
There's niggas everywhere you want to go. I mean,
but those are in Oakland. Excuse me, Oakland. There you go. Though they trying to kick us out of there right now, because gentrification.
Streamlabs.com/Blerds in the hood.
Chi-Town. Would you consider Chi-Town part of Africa, America? No. There's a lot of white people in Chicago.
Chicago is the most segregated city in the country, and nobody will still admit it.
So just Southside Chicago?
Yeah, but it's still segregated as fuck on the South Side. Look, there's a whole neighborhood. There are two neighborhoods on the South Side of Chicago, Canaryville and Bridgeport. Those are both neighborhoods, niggas.
2022. This nigga's everywhere.
This nigga's everywhere.
You got to make sure. You have to make sure that you include this as part of the clip about Sha'Carri, bro. It's where we find Africa, America. Or make it a separate
I gotta make sure I talk to the dude. I gotta make sure I talk to David to get this live show done on Juneteenth weekend. And I'm thinking this real quick, because what random ass shirts would we have? What's this 2020? This nigga's everywhere.
Bro. It would be Marshall Washington 2024. There's niggas everywhere. What a slogan. What a goddamn slogan, bro. I might have to make that as like a hoodie. Marshall Washington 2024. There's
niggas everywhere. Hey, you know what's funny? How much you want to bet? Because I know the neighborhood by now. Within the next week and a half, I can't support this. So for those who don't know, AZ Badfish said, I feel like I can't support this merch store, LOL. Because Marlon will tell you, like, I'm white. Like, and he says where he lives. Like he wants, like, I would love his thing. Like, Marlon to be the type person, he'd be like, man, I want to get the shirt or the hoodie to support y'all, but I can't take a picture and post it and say I'll support the Blerds.
I'll put this. Here's what we do. I will make a There's a Niggas Everywhere version, and we'll make a There's Blerds Everywhere version. How about that? Can you support that one? With that work, Marlon?
Blerds in the Hood every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. All full episodes exclusively available on Twitch for the month of February. www.twitch.tv/BLERDS, the letter N, THEHOOD. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe.